Very impressive, to say the least, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Well, you know, I remember last September when the story broke. My reaction was a lot like your reaction. I couldn't believe Max Hall and the word drugs would go together in the same sentence. Well, you're about to find out what went wrong. But what impressed me most while spending time with Max was his honesty and his courage in telling us what really played out over the last 5 years of his life. When the news first broke last September, the reaction was universal. How could this happen to Max Hall? How did this happen?
Yeah, you know, it's been a tough road, and it started, you know, that first season with the Cardinals. After some injuries and a concussion and a shoulder injury I had, kind of everything I went through that year kind of got in a place where I thought maybe my career was over, or wasn't thinking straight because of the concussion I had and a dislocated shoulder, and had pain pills available to me, and took them, and eventually got hooked on them, got addicted to them, and that began a struggle that lasted 4 years for me, where I just couldn't get off. I couldn't stop taking them. Whether it was to feel better when I was depressed or to get through an injury or whatever, and just kept taking more and more to where you're physically addicted and it's tough to get off of them.
You had a phenomenal high school career here. You almost go to ASU, then you go to BYU. Fast forward, you're with the Cardinals, and now Max Hall is starting against the defending Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints. Take us to that moment.
One of the best moments, athletic-wise, you know, in my entire career. To have a chance to come back to your hometown, to play for your hometown team, to have all your family and friends there, and to play against one of my idols, Drew Brees and the Saints, just coming off a Super Bowl win. To get a chance to start and play that game and to win that game, I remember walking off that field, was one of the best feelings I've ever had.
He's got some room to run. Dives and he fumbles the football, and it is picked up and taken into the end zone. Levi Brown.
You know, it was a play where I was going towards the goal line, and saw three defenders coming at me, but I didn't have it in me to slide, so I put my head down. The next thing I remember is opening my eyes, and Larry's carrying me off the field. And I said, "What happened? What happened?" And he goes, "Don't worry, we scored. You're good. You're good, Max. It's okay." And I was out for a while, and luckily that was right before the half, but I went at halftime, just tried to gather myself, and was able to finish the game and win. But that was the first of a few concussions that happened after that.
The story of Max Hall could very well be the story of any NFL player, hiding an injury for the fear of losing your starting position.
You know, I've gotten my bell rung tons of times, and this one was different. But I was scared. I just became the starter. I just won my first game. I was afraid that if I told somebody, I would lose that. And so I kind of lied my way through the concussion test and told the doctors what I thought they wanted to hear, because I wanted to play. Looking back, that was a huge mistake.
2 weeks later, Hall was starting again, this time in Seattle.
I was definitely different. I was spacey, I was forgetting stuff. And I remember going into that Seattle game, being at the line of scrimmage and forgetting what play we're running.
And you get hit again in Seattle.
And then I get hit again in the start of the second quarter, and I'm out again. And I remember kind of opening my eyes and kind of standing back up and kind of making my way to the sideline. And so I don't play the rest of that game.
Now you're playing against the Rams. What happened?
I didn't start the game, but we were struggling a little bit, and so they put me in. This was 2 or 3 weeks after the last hit I took, so I was feeling a little bit better. And my third play in the game, I dislocated my left shoulder. And I just remember standing up, and it was just on fire. I knew something was wrong. And so now I'm back in the locker room with the trainers and stuff, and I think my career is over. I think that's it. You know, I'm done. They're gonna get rid of me and, you know, put a fork in me. And that's when, now I have this, now I have pain medication available. And I probably took, I took more than I should have in the days following. And
I mean, you're in severe pain. You go to the pain medication, and then this is heavy stuff. This is an opiate-based medication to thwart the pain.
Yeah, this is this is oxycodone, and not only did it take the pain away from my shoulder, but it took the stress and the anxiety and the depression away of having this injury and my career might being over. And so it was really easy for me to keep taking them. It was easy to numb everything out.
In our next segment, Max Hall describes what happened on that day, and he explains how the remarkable support of his wife, family, and friends played a huge role on his journey back. Talk more about this, and you'll see more from inside the Max Hall story as we continue on a Sunday night. You're watching Fox 10 Sports Night.
Fox 10 Sports Night is back.
Well, the story continues for Max Hall with the low point coming back in September of this past year, a day Max and his family will never forget.
Going into the season, took a drug test, and they said, hey, something's wrong here. And so they did put me in the program, and I was even scared to be in the program. I didn't want people to find out, so I didn't take it maybe as seriously as I should have. But they did give me a counselor, and went to that counselor, and I've stopped taking the pills, and I'm withdrawing from them now. They sent me to a doctor. They put me on another drug to help me get off the drug I was on. And
this is Suboxone, which is almost like a methadone.
Yeah.
So you can't take other drugs, but it's still an opiate-based drug.
It's still an opioid, yes. And I wish I wouldn't have taken it long term. I wish I'd have done it more short term and gotten off of it and went and gotten help. But again, I was scared. This was my secret. I didn't want anybody to know.
And then in early September of last fall, Max Hall's life would change in an instant.
I was doing well. I was the offensive coordinator at Gilbert High School, and we had just won our first game, and I installed this offense, having a good time. And that's kind of one weird thing about this disease of addiction, is that it can just come up at any day, at any time. And it came up, and I relapsed. I can't even tell you why. I can't even go through the thought process of how I went over there, got the stuff, and did it, because I don't remember. It's just like a blur. You go on autopilot, and it's just like you just do it. And so I gave in that day and mixed the pills with some other stuff that I shouldn't have, and found myself in a situation that was pretty tough and embarrassing. So it was hard to deal with it. It was hard to go through that. But at the same time, it maybe was a blessing in disguise, because now my secret's out. When that first happened and went public, I wanted to go dig a hole and lay in it, right? I thought nobody wanted anything to do with me anymore. I shot myself in the foot, and that just wasn't the case, Jude. And for the most part, people reached out and wanted to help.
Hall credits the support of his family and friends, the inspiration from his kids, and the unrelenting support of his wife, Mackenzie, for getting through the biggest challenge of his life on the roughest day of his life.
The second I got over there, the first thing Max said was, I'm leaving, I'm going to get help. And the second he said that, I knew that I was going to stick around and be there to help him, because, I mean, he's my husband. I, love him, and I want to do everything I could to keep our family together. And the second he said he was going to get help, I was right there ready to get help with him. And I'm glad I did, because I can see he has so much potential, and he's an amazing, amazing man, an amazing father, an amazing husband, and I'm glad that I stuck it out.
Moving forward, Max Hall, now 8 months sober, has a message for those that have followed his career since high school.
I feel good about owning the mistakes that I've made, and I feel like I can use those mistakes to help bless the life of others.
I'll say it again, great respect for his honesty, his candor, his courage. You know, you can't help but pull for Max Hall. He didn't have to talk publicly to anyone, but he felt compelled to come clean and tell those who care his compelling story. Now, somebody once said, discovering the pain and healing and finding out a way to heal it is an essential step in ending dependency. Anyone who possesses any degree of compassion would like to see Max Hall win and win big moving forward with his life. We'll keep tabs on him and keep you posted along the way. When we come back,